Yes, I've done it again. I've been let loose on eBay and I've brought a DUAL Xeon workstation server for the grand sum of £15. And shall we say it's of the educational and interesting variety. I hope you enjoy the video. My name's Andy and this is Andy's Tech, and yes, we're back with another budget workstation video. I just couldn't help myself, guys. So what do we have here before you today? Well, this is a Vigeland Genie business grade workstation. It's a dual Xeon system and I paid just £13 for it, plus £11 delivery. So a pretty good deal in my opinion. Well, that's to be said. We'll decide later. So what did £24 delivered by me? Well, I was a bit surprised at first because initially I purchased it as a V2 Xeon. I thought E5 V2, that's great, X79, LGA 2011. So I jumped on eBay and went ahead and brought two CPUs for it. When they got delivered, and I was going to upgrade the system for the video for you guys today. Upon taking the tower cooler off, I realised, hang on, these don't fit. Oh, and actually it's a dual Xeon LGA 1356 motherboard. Now it's a bit of a cobbled together. It seems to have the memory channels of X58, but the features of X79. So it's a strange one, and I honestly never even knew this socket existed. But that did limit us slightly to the Xeons that are supported with this board. Obviously I purchased two Xeons that wouldn't fit with it, but the system came with twin Xeon E5 2407 V2s, which are 4-core 4-thread CPUs with a base clock of 2.4 GHz and no turbo or anything, so that's it. So that's 8 cores, 8 threads, which was nice actually. There was 16 gigabytes of ECC registered RAM, two 8 gigabyte sticks. So the system is currently running in single channel mode. The speed is also 1333 megahertz, which isn't too bad. We've got 16 gigabytes of RAM, and being an Intel system, it's not going to cripple it as much as say an old AMD FX system or Ryzen system. There's an awesome power supply which we got included, an FSP 600 watt 80 plus silver unit. Now this is a bit of a little beast of a PSU. It's got a 46 amp 12 volt rail and two 8-pin 6 plus 2 pin PCIe power connectors, so we can slot something fairly juicy in this system. There was a 500 gigabyte Western Digital Blue HDD slapped in there, so I'm going to have to endure some pain with this video before we upgrade it and just see what the experience is like with that hard drive, which I'm not looking forward to. There was also a NVIDIA Quadro K620 included as well, which I was really happy about. I've actually been trying to get my hands on one of these cards for quite a while. Yes, they're potato graphics cards these days, but they're not too shabby. They can still perform okay in some esports titles, and they're still supported by the latest NVIDIA workstation driver updates. It's got a few cores, a few TMUs, a few ROPs, and 2 gigabytes of GDDR3 VRAM. But it's low powered unit, it's quiet, it runs quiet as a mouse. The system is also running in PCI 3.0, which will also help when we come to upgrading the graphics card and fitting something a little more beefy in here. And as the system stands today, we should be able to do some basic gaming on it. So yeah, that's the system here before you. I think I got quite a bargain here today for what I paid for it. But let's see, I guess the real test and the proof is in the pudding. Let's throw some games at it just as it stands and see how we do. Hope you enjoy the benchmarks. I activated Windows on this build today using a Windows key from premiumcdkeys.com. They've got an awesome website and are my #1 source for any Windows license keys I ever need. You can pick up and get your install activated for under £5, and what's more, you can now get 7.5% off any key on their website as well using this code, which will also be in the video description down below. What's more, it helps the channel out, so what's not to love? So first up, I'm going to run some synthetic benchmarks, and it's our favourite can you render a chair in the quickest amount of time, Cinebench R20. We returned a score of 1393, which is okay for Haswell, and taking into consideration the clock speed we have, somewhere in the range of an i7 2600, but fall short well of the i7 4790. Next up we have Heaven. We returned a score of 1300 with an average FPS of 51.6, which is okay for a little card like this. And I know I compare the GT710 to quite a lot of these potato cards, but that manages about 30 FPS, 1080p low in Heaven. So we're well above that mark. We're sort of cruising on GT 1030 DDR4 cards. I went for Firestrike next, which is new to the benchmarks again. And I guess you guys can sort of compare the terribleness of this system to your own Firestrike score. We received a score of 2273 with nothing to compare against it, so I guess that's the best score on Firestrike. A graphics score of 2518 and a physics score of 7951. I don't have anything to compare that score against, so yeah, it's either really good or terrible. I would go for the second option, but we only paid £24 for this system, so I don't think that is too bad at all, you know. So games now, and first up we've got CSGO. It's going to be quite a short benchmark section today, just mainly because I gave up on the pain of the 500GB HDD. It was just too much. 1080p low, we returned an average of 81 FPS with 1% lows of 16 and 0.1% lows of 9. Now we were struggling here. If you look at the frame time graph, there's just loads of little micro frame time stutters, which is mainly due to the single channel RAM, I believe. I've had similar problems in CSGO like this before. The GPU wasn't even maxed out here either, so we have a little bit of a CPU bottleneck going on, or again a RAM related issue. So an okay casual experience in CSGO. Dota 2 next, and again at 1080p, but I had to go for 70% resolution scale, which is basically 720p, all on the low settings. We went for an in-game match where you can watch the match. We returned an average of 63 FPS with 1% of 31 and 0.1% of 21. So an okay little Dota 2 experience really. You'd have no problems if you're a casual player just playing like the game like this. Again, we had a slight bottleneck going on with the GPU. The CPU didn't seem to be maxed out really, so Dota 2 was quite happy using those cores and those threads, even at that slow clock speed. So Dota 2, no troubles here really. We've certainly had a lot worse on this channel. Now last up, before I gave up on the HDD and the pain of just trying to navigate Windows and install games, I went for Apex Legends. Now I was quite surprised here actually. I had to go 720p, all lowest settings, and I set the target frame rate scale to 60 FPS. And it actually managed it, to be honest. Now I was only floating about the gun training area for about 15 minutes, but it returned 60 FPS all of the time. I wouldn't worry too much about the 1% lows, and it did look like an absolute pixelated mess. We were probably rendering at like 180p or something, and then upscaling to 720p. But it was probably the most solid result we've had today. You know, it was really stable actually if you look at the frame time graph. And for £24 that we paid for this system, you can't really complain really. So that brings us to the conclusion of the video. This was more of just a brief preview for you guys of what I've brought. I haven't taken this video too seriously. Now I have got some plans for this system, and I'm going to do a separate video on the little Quadro K620 in a system that can unleash its full potential, shall we say, however little that is. I've also got plans for this system, and we can go up to 20 cores and 40 threads running at 2.5 gigahertz. So that will be interesting to see. I'm also going to max out the RAM as well and put something a little bit more beefy here in the GPU department. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you're subscribed to catch that. Please leave a like and a comment down below. I always love your thoughts and what you guys have to say. Thank you to everyone that's subbed to the channel. You guys are absolutely awesome. Take care as always. God bless, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.